Oh, we're live. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I forgot. I went
Ooh.
live. Awesome, dude.
Yo,
Yeah. This is fun.
yeah, this
So,
is an exciting day.
like the culmination of all this stuff. It's really a culmination of a month and a half of work,
Yeah,
interspersed with a lot of agency work. But and we're matching today in not even with our no code UI colors. But Mark, thanks for joining, dude. Thank you
thanks
for
for having
everybody.
me, Andrew.
Sorry I didn't schedule this and post about it before this week. We have been heads down with client work and then a bunch of just business related stuff on no code UI, getting stuff set up on the back end, MailChimp, emails, graphics, app store screenshots, right? So we are launching no code UI on the web today. I'm going to send out emails to all of our signups, everybody that signed up for the pre-bootcamp, pre-courses. So that will be super fun. And then we will, on our website, we'll just showcase it to you. So no code UI. Ooh.
I think you even said that it's been like a month and a half of all this design work, but it's even a longer time of just kind of brewing in your mind and in your
Yeah.
heart. How long has it been
I
like
mean,
this?
it's probably a year and a half or 2 years. I mean, really doing what I'm doing now, 10
Yeah,
years. Like it's been even from, 10 years ago, my wife and I we were thinking about how can we improve the lives of those around us, right?
yeah,
Like how can we train people to have a better income or livelihood, be better workers,
yeah,
be better individuals in society. How can we most effectively do this? Um, and one of the ways that we thought was training people in design, and we also really love coffee. We owned a coffee shop for 6 years, so we were like, that's an easy way. Nobody needs like a major skill set to learn about coffee, to be a beneficial person, a customer service person that's just, giddy
yeah,
and can make somebody's day better. But also just training people. Our goal is to improve the lives of people that we interact with, um, and allow them not to just go away from the interaction they have with us like, oh, they were cool people, but to have their lives inherently improved. Um, and so this learning platform is something that has been mulling within me for, yeah, I would say about 10 years, since 2014. Um,
yeah.
and it's just taking this sort of form. There's a long testimony and pathway to get there of failure and then back into design and, all this stuff. But this is one of the passions that we have. Um, and we're really excited. So we have launched, if you go to NoCodeUI.io, I've updated the button up here
Woo.
to where you can actually join now. And that join now will lead you to, share this tab instead, the login page for NoCodeUI. And you can do that. Um, yeah, you can log in now. It's open. Well, let me, here, I'm going to just log in real quick. Uh, uh,
Yeah, and
and we'll
even just
showcase the platform.
yeah, we're going to showcase the platform and just kind of talking about it too, and the just the history of how it started in Andrew and also his wife's hearts and their minds, and to really, yeah, being in betterment for the people around them, people they care about, but also, yeah, just families that have a heart for people. And I know first time I met Andrew, I remember hearing about this, and that was how long ago? That was like
That was 8 years ago. It was 2017, so 7 years ago, I think. So
getting old.
yeah, I know, right? It's been cool. You weren't even married then. Now you have what, 3 kids, and
I got three
um,
kids,
yeah,
and Andrew, you've helped me as well, and to be able to, yeah, to grow and design and become a better designer and even provide more for my family. And so to see this no code platform now is so exciting for me because I believe it's going to do that for so many more.
yeah,
So
and really like I've always enjoyed teaching. I've been teaching UI UX for the last 2 years, and I've enjoyed it. But there's just always, when you do it in a boot camp setting, like I've done it twice, and both times the students leave lacking in the proper skills they actually need to get a job, lacking in deliverables and showcasing a portfolio that actually will wow people. And I know that I'm not going to teach people to be perfect in everything they do, but my goal would be to empower you with the knowledge to deliver amazing applications at a higher rate with higher quality. So that's why, and really, I'm going to stay within my expertise. I'm not going to try to venture out into all sorts of development stuff and security of apps and everything. I will bring on, hopefully, some experts within those verticals. But my goal is to empower you, whether you're a beginning user, a power user, or an agency, to deliver higher quality and better applications to your clients or for yourself. You know, how do you improve the lives of your users? We're going to go through all of that. So when you dive into the platform, you get this dashboard. It's not going to look like this. You're not going to have any courses. You can go to courses here. We have 2 ready to go, right? Free. We have Get Started, which is your basic build an app with me tutorial from the ground up. We start with building an app, from creating a project to connecting Firebase, setting up authentication, creating the UI for a home screen, creating the UI for a detail screen, passing data, utilizing components, hooking up some logic, doing some code expressions, knowing the power of code expressions, if then else statements, uploading data, creating that data, manipulating data. And then this stuff will also be on YouTube, but if you're part of the platform, you get a bonus video where we will actually go through setting up some filtering of Firebase data, Firestore data via choice chips, and then some conditional logic for the ride screen where we reserve or RSVP to a ride. It's just a little ride app that we are creating at NoCodeUI. So yeah.
And
so this is fun.
On the NoCode UI builder, when you're joined in it, you get a bonus video, and then that one is the cherry on top. It's really good, and yeah, I'm really stoked about it.
Yeah, and then this FlutterFlow 101 course, I was dragging my feet on finishing out in the totality of this, because really this could be like 12 videos, 14 videos, 16 videos, and I was like, you know what, I'll do FlutterFlow 101, and then I'll do 102, 103, 104. That's how I'm going to break it out. But this is an overview. This is going to be good for everybody. It's not just going to be good for those people that haven't built anything before, or those people that are super experienced. It'll be good for everybody. In this course, I essentially just go through my logic, my thinking, the process that I go through, and why I set things up the way I set them up in FlutterFlow for every single project. And also the way I set them up when I worked for FlutterFlow, how we set up all of the templates and themes and components and flows and all of these things, how everything can work together, and how your life will be much easier if you set things up in accordance with the design system in place in FlutterFlow. So we talk about, I just give you like, hey, these are like my shortcuts. This is how you basically build UI in FlutterFlow. These are the things that you're going to be touching. Theming goes in depth on how we lay out colors and typography. Templates and flows, hey, we just talk about stuff we've talked about on this live stream numerous times, but you can see the power of it. So great for beginners. Then you get a little quiz, which is fun. So you can take your little quiz based on the knowledge of all this stuff. Then we go into building a wonderful little layout basic. So actually, we could probably just start this quiz. I'll just start this quiz. You can just see it in action. Okay, so really important here. Make sure that you, once you select an answer, just the way I set it up, once you select an answer, you're going to be automatically navigated to the next question. So,
and you can't go
FlutterFlow. Yeah.
And you can't go back to the last question, right?
Yeah, there's no way right now. sorry. Only because like the way, yeah, there's numerous ways you can set up quizzes, and this is just the one way that I was like, you know what?
No grace quiz.
I just want to use one component. So, okay, cool. So yeah, let's see, add pages from the green button pages. Yes, left side. How do you have a splash? I don't want to go through this all for y'all so you guys can get this, but yeah, we'll.
Yeah. Well, while you're doing that, Marcelo had a cool question.
Cool.
Was the platform developed in FlutterFlow?
Yes, every bit of it was developed in FlutterFlow. Every single thing. So, yeah, and we are going to be launching on iOS, and then eventually Android. We have a developer on the Pleo team that will help me with that. It's still sort of a pain for me, but yeah, we're going to be, and we'll touch on. So, our main focus will be on building beautiful applications in FlutterFlow that are powerful. So, a majority of our content will be around Firebase and FlutterFlow. Building applications and then designing those beautiful applications. All of the design stuff will apply to Firebase, Supabase, everything. We will build out some Supabase content. It's not going to be as robust as the Firebase content because right now the Supabase integration isn't as powerful. But we'll do a basic app with Supabase. We'll do like a responsive app with Supabase. We will be doing that same stuff with Firebase. We're going to go through everything from the way I set up real projects. So sending push notifications, sending activity, allowing a user to read a notification, chat, right? How do you implement the chat flow and maybe adjust it to your needs? We'll go through all of that. So, sorry, I'm just going to go through this quiz. Nice.
See, we have a question from JP. It says, I see a bunch of Firebase content. Will you have the equivalent for Supabase?
Yes. Yeah. We'll have similar, not total. So it won't be equivalent, but we'll have some based off of Supabase. If you guys want to know Supabase, please go follow the Digital Pro on YouTube. He does an amazing job going through Supabase, BuildShip, all that stuff. He's like light years ahead of me. So go follow him and listen to his content, give it thumbs up, really support him. He does an amazing job of walking through. Also, he's going to do a much better job of, full on tutorials. Like I'm very ad lib. And the way I do tutorials is very off the cuff of my sleeve. That is polished. I've tried to polish it. But he has a much more teaching atmosphere. So if you want somebody, if that's the way you learn, then please just go and watch his stuff. You can benefit from both, right? Benefit from both styles. I'll be teaching different content than what he's teaching, just so you guys know.
What's his channel name?
The Digital Pro.
Digital Pro. And also, Sean asks, will you guys do anything for APIs?
Yeah, I'm not necessarily an expert on APIs, so currently we won't be. But again, we may have some guest instructors come on and just walk through APIs. I think it's one of the most robust things you can do in FlutterFlow. Very powerful, and not a lot of good education on it. So we will do stuff. We're going to be focusing on how to build apps, period. So yeah, like I said, I think the FlutterFlow channel does a great job of educating people how to use the platform. And then other platforms do a great job of how to integrate with other tools or how to build like very popular applications. But there's not a lot of good instruction on the theory behind building, best practices, and hopefully training you to become an extensive builder, not just, hey, follow me along on this tutorial. Okay, now you can build the thing that we built in the tutorial. I don't want that. Like I don't want that. You don't want that. You want to build other things. You're following the tutorial so you can learn how to build your own project, or you can learn how to build for clients. So the things that I touch on, the places where I go into detail on something, it explains some of the theory and thought behind why I'm doing what I'm doing. So that hopefully when you get a new project, which there's plenty of projects in this vertical, man, again, the reason why I left FlutterFlow, which is a very cush position, let's be honest. It was awesome. I loved working with the team. I didn't leave because I was disgruntled. I left because I saw an opportunity here, and I want to be at the forefront of this opportunity where I can train people, teach people. We can improve the quality of apps that are delivered through FlutterFlow. You can build such robust and amazing things. So I want everybody to be empowered with that. Also, I'm doing a little selfishly because us at Kaleo, we get leads. We are inundated with leads, and we have no quality people that we can trust to pass them off to. I know I'm going to get inundated with, all these agencies. I'm very picky. I'm extremely picky on who I pass stuff off to. So we have good agencies that we are working with already. So we don't need more, but we do need more UI builders, designers that are capable of carrying a Figma design all the way to FlutterFlow, laying stuff out correctly in FlutterFlow, and then hooking up the back end. So that's some of the content that we'll be going over. We'll also be going over, basics of Firebase. So what is it? How do you do it? How do you structure data? How do you query data? How do you connect data, pass data, cache data? All sorts of things related to Firebase, which I think is beneficial. There's so many times where I jump into a project and I see things, not that I'm an expert of database stuff, but I see things that are wonky, let's say. They're a little wonky. So just going through that, I will have an expert come and just give me some guidance on best practices from a development standpoint. And then I'll carry through some of the stuff that I've learned from the team at FlutterFlow in regards to database stuff. Okay, cool. Yes, and JP, these are all great questions. So the plan is to have one-off purchases for certain courses, right? You can see here like design principles, building responsive apps in FlutterFlow, intro to design thinking, Firebase basics. Like there are one-off purchases that will be assigned and associated with your account. The goal in the future is to build this out where it's not just a learning platform, but it is also like a community, maybe a pro community that can share information, ask questions, get more specified live streams or office hours or something with myself, and then get discounts and access to course material, or maybe just all course material, something like that. That's an idea. So I would like to, I'm doing this for two reasons, right? One, I would like to create some income and utilize my expertise to do that, where I don't always have to be present. But also I want to empower people. And I see this as the one area where I'm like, okay, cool. Yeah, there's great design instructors out there, but this area, I feel like I have some expertise that I can share and benefit the world. So, and then this one is also very good. This from Luke, helping to create a new role of UX engineers, 100%. I would call them design engineers, but they can be UX engineers as well. We will be tracking video analytics for users. Currently, we're hosting everything on YouTube right now. But eventually we're going to switch that over to sort of a custom, either integration with YouTube API or something. I've already had a beta user reach out and was like, hey, I'm building this custom widget that gives you more flexibility, which is exactly what I want. But yeah, so eventually we'll do that. We'll be tracking videos. I'm tracking, course activity, even on you get updates when I update courses or add new courses here. You'll get sort of, you'll have the ability to sort of click in, take action, etc. on them. And then on my end, I have a whole other platform built out for the instructor portion, the admin portion of NoCodeUI, where I can actually dive into student activity, grades. I can, some of these provide the ability to submit an assignment.
It's on the basics.
Yeah. So final assignment, share your work. So you can just upload a link, a Twitter link or something. You can share the app that you actually built in FlutterFlow.
Yeah.
And then some of these, like the Firebase basics. Yeah, that was a good one. Right. There'll be a grade for this assignment. There'll be a grade for like your design principles assignment, where we actually go through planning, defining, and creating thumbnail wireframes and connecting them in a user flow in Figma. Like doing that for an application, and then it's submitting that as an assignment and getting a grade back. So it's sort of like impromptu learning, but also there is some benefit to getting feedback from somebody else. So often there's like courses out there that it's just content you consume. And sometimes there's practice, but there's very few times where there's practice and feedback, and you get interaction with, somebody else that knows what they're talking about. So hopefully this will be revolutionary. It's not really revolutionary. It's a merging of current practices and, larger practices, which is like a traditional education format. So yeah.
I've done quite a few courses where you walk through building a specific app, and at the end of it, you're like, man, I can build anything. And then the first app that you're trying to build, you run into a problem that wasn't in the course, and you're like, who do I go to? And so I'm spending the next hour or two just on forums and different things like that. And so to be able to really interact with you or with the Kaleo team is just
Yep. And there's plenty of places where FlutterFlow users can interact. So, that's why I didn't launch with a community to begin with, because there's already like the community at FlutterFlow. There's a Discord. There's, Digital Pro community. There's plenty of these communities out there where you can actually get feedback. But my goal would be to teach, and teach these things that we do every day, whether it's creating admin panels or, querying data correctly, or linking data, or utilizing component or apps or page state to formulate a list of records, and then sending that list of records to somebody. So yeah, it's been good. Awesome. Okay, let's see. Access blocked. Yeah, there's maybe some errors. There's also a way to submit, once you do log in, you can also submit feedback. Please do. I get a push notification from this because I have the test flight. So, and then iOS, we're hoping to launch iOS next week. We're sort of submitting to the App Store and going to be under review. I have to do some unauthentic. We have to do some anonymous users stuff so the Apple will accept it, because they're real annoying about that recently. But beyond that, this is good. Cool. And then today, right, we're only 25 minutes in. We still have another 35 minutes. I wanted to just dive into whatever anybody wanted to learn. If somebody has a question, I wanted to sort of address that, because I've been working on the NoCodeUI platform so long and client work all week. I didn't have any time to prepare for this. So there's one thing that I will touch on, I guess, if nobody has anything pertinent.
We do have one request from, from Mark, asking if he could do a little demo.
Okay. A code expression that receives a string as a temp and change it to show 14. Oh man. Yeah. Why'd you have to show that one, Mark? Mark has been interacting with me on Twitter, I think. Good question. Mark. So 14.3, there is a code expression for that Will has done, and I'm trying to see how. Oh, you could just limit the characters, but sorry, trying to think about that. Code expression that takes a double and converts it to a 2-digit or 1-digit string. I would have to research how to do that, Mark. Sorry. I have wanted to do that, and I just haven't. So but it is that code expression is extremely simple because you can do one of two things. You can do a code expression, or you could limit the characters in the front end. So you could just say, only give me 2 digits, or only give me 3 digits. You could also do, for an easy way, you could, okay, I will do this. It's not a code expression, Mark. But let's see, window, FlutterFlow. Okay, not a code expression, but a custom function that maybe you can take to a code expression, because love ChatGPT, right? So we're going to create a function here. That function will be convert double to string. Let's just say that, right? We'll take a double, right? 14.37, and we can just return an integer, let's say. Okay, and this will be sorry, we're going to return an integer. We're going to take a double, LOL. All right, current double. Okay, then in our code pilot, we're just going to say, I would like to take a double and limit the decimals to 0 and return as an integer. Return and round to the nearest integer. Okay, let's see if that gives us anything. Looky there. That will most likely give us what we need. So if current double equals null, return null, save function, and then I'll get a test mode up and running so that we can test that. Because for some reason in the desktop app, you no longer can test in custom functions, which is funky. Shadrach, great question. Oh, and then JP, Mark, we'll touch on what JP just said. So does the Launchpad provide does the platform provide a Launchpad for beginners to experts in FlutterFlow? Yes, Shadrach, I would say it will eventually. It's not going to right now, but you will learn. You'll move from beginner to intermediate right now. With those 2 courses that are up there, you'll get some actionable, right, building. I believe that experience is required to become an expert. You don't just do something overnight, right? Like, I wish it happened like that. I really do. But it just doesn't typically. So it's consistent practice. And there will be a number of courses that will be you practicing, right? I'll just do some short lessons. There'll be some freeform lessons, I'm sure, or a course where it's just like all of my thoughts on state management, all my thoughts on building robust applications that will help those nuanced use cases. So let's go ahead and test that. And then we will need to see if we have a double here. We don't in the rides. Yes, ride length here. So we have a double, and we have the ability to create that. So we can automatically test that custom function, Mark. And then JP, you also had a really good question here. Can you explain your thinking on breakpoints in a bit more detail? Yep, this is a good question, because I haven't formulated a precise answer to it. And by that I mean just a precise answer as to when and where I do things. So my initial answer to this would be, give me a second, I'm logging into that test mode. Oh yeah, test.
And while Andrew's doing that, for those that just joined, we're launching today NoCodeUI. So you can head over to the NoCodeUI.io and then click the join now on the top right. And yeah, see all that's being offered there. There's 2 free courses right now and more to come. And right now Andrew's taking some questions of things that he can just showcase right now, any demos. So if you have any questions, put them up in the chat.
So JB, I'll get to the answer of your question after we showcase this that Mark asked. So back here on our home, right, we have we did touch on this stuff last week, right? We have this miles text here, and we have our ride length. This ride length is a double, even though it says string up here. It's actually a double in the back end. So what we're going to do is, instead of this ride length, we're going to feed this ride length into that custom function. Okay. So custom function, convert double to string. All right. We're going to just do that ride length here. Number of formatting, number of miles. And then when we actually reload this, we can go and create a ride in our test mode, and we'll see if this converts. We'll do like, 14.34, and we'll see where it lands. Let me go ahead and share. You guys can.
Andrew, something's up with your audio.
Uh-oh.
There we go.
Can you hear me now?
Better. Maybe you were speaking to the side of it. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, perfect.
There we
All
go.
good. All right, so we will do this, and I'll just upload a small image here. Bootcamp graphic, test ride, San Antonio, really awesome. Number of riders, 200, ride length, 20 point. Oh, well, we need to do one more thing. Okay, I'm just going to share my entire screen. So I wonder if I can do stop sharing. I'm just going to do my entire screen here. Perfect. Okay. Sorry. We masked on that create ride screen. We are masking this to only accept digits. So we will do none so that we can implement a period or a dot. And then we will just also remove those. We don't need them. Okay. Sorry, now I'm sharing my screen. So on this length one, we had this mask on, or no, we had the filter on to only accept digits. So we are going to now be able to accept all things. So really awesome. San Antonio. This is great. 14.22 or maybe 74, 200. We'll do our ride tomorrow at 3:30. Okay. Let's see. Ooh. Maybe we do need to upload this image. Oh, we are getting maybe that ride length is sorry guys, this is ride length is a double. Yeah. Let's see what this is. We were able to do this last week. So, oh my gosh. Oh, this is the wrong create screen maybe. Oh, I know. Oh, LOL. We hadn't even set this up. We didn't set this up. This is my previous project. Okay, give me a second. We'll do this in our test project. So My private projects, tutorial, okay, live stream. We'll just do it in this screen. Okay. I'm sorry, guys.
No worries, Andrew.
And Michael, we are, we're working on this. So we're working on a welcome email with links to the free lessons. Yes. I'm just doing that today. So after this, that's what I'm doing. It's gonna be fun. So that's another thing that we'll go through. We'll go through how to set up sort of email flows. You know, how to send out beautifully designed emails to users that sign up to your applications. So I'm doing that with BuildShip. Okay. Yep. Mark, we may not be able to get to that. Sorry, I'm just trying to give me a second. Templates. Okay. Where is this? Sorry. Any other questions, Mark?
Let's see. JP had a question.
Okay.
Let's see, where's that? Right here.
Okay. Yeah, that's right. So breakpoints. Mark, I'll have to respond to your question later. I just don't think it's going to work today. I apologize. But that's the idea, that you can utilize a custom function. You can also just like research how to round in code, and then you can just implement that in the code expression. So if I figure it out later today, which I may, I'll send you a little. I'll tweet something out and tag you in it. So okay, where 3 minutes ago by you, live stream, perfect. We'll come back to this. So last week, we put together a responsive design, right? We took sort of the UI of this mobile application and we made it responsive. But as you can see, it's funky. It looks funky because we created a component here and we're utilizing a conditional builder. And so JP is wondering, okay, when do you use a conditional builder and when do you just use responsive breakpoints, right? Because you could also do this exact thing and actually better, JP, because after I did this, I was like, you know what? This is sort of annoying. I now have to like go to the conditional, then I have to switch to mobile, and it's just not as fluid as I would like. And so after I built this, I was like, you know what? It's sort of easier to, as long as it's a component, right? As long as you have this in a component, you're not managing this on a screen. So like you're not managing this on a page. It could be more beneficial to just in FlutterFlow, right? Maybe not in code, but in FlutterFlow, just to have this instead be like a column or a stack or a row. And then you have your desktop and you have your mobile. And then whenever you do this, it's going to adjust to your content. Just depends on where and how you want to utilize that, how much content you have as well. So like managing content can be very difficult. In this scenario, we have a very easy way of managing. So we have like one element up here or an element up here and then a list view. So it's pretty simple. But utilizing components for these things is going to be much more beneficial. By that, I mean, we don't have it here, but we are creating even my NoCodeUI dashboard is basically all components, because as you do things in responsive thing, you're going to have duplicate backend calls, you're going to have duplicate queries, you're going to have duplicate actions if you don't utilize components. So throwing all of those in components and then building your page content with those components, whether it's responsive visibility or conditional builder, is going to be more beneficial. the ideal scenario, as we mentioned last week, JP, is that at some point FlutterFlow implements something similar or akin to Flexbox or something similar to like Webflow that you can in mobile view, you're adjusting mobile view content. In desktop view, you're adjusting desktop view content. You can also, right, you can sort of do that now, but you're just showing, hiding different things, which is a little annoying because what I really want is I want one page that has all my content, and I want to display it differently here than on mobile, right?
Yeah.
I want it to be, I want basically rows and columns to behave differently depending on the breakpoint. So when it's a desktop, I want this is a column. I want this to be a row. Then I want to stylize this card, and I want to set a max width for this. So eventually, maybe, possibly, that'll happen. But for now, we are living with cool. Hey, see, we did try to do our pin code last week. It does work. It does work. It just worked. But so yeah, best rules and practices. It really is up to you on how much chaos you want to deal with. So responsive visibility would be my default. But when you're dealing with complex layouts, sometimes it's just easier to utilize a conditional builder so that you can adjust the content, right? It's not as UI friendly within FlutterFlow, but it's more UI friendly in regards to code. And also, like, when you're adjusting the content for that builder, you don't have to worry about, your breakpoint at all. So you can just adjust stuff here, and then you can change your breakpoint and adjust stuff here. So again, it just doesn't behave as fluidly in FlutterFlow as the responsive stuff. So in comparison, I'll duplicate this and do the alternate method and show you. Okay. We're going to wrap this guy in a column. We're just going to take this out, and we're going to take this out. And then we'll just apply our mobile and desktop. So this is mobile view. We're going to turn those off. And on desktop view, we want to turn these off. And now we have this thing that responds very well. This is how we want it to behave regardless. So, because this is nice. We are still dealing with two content pieces. So again, you could probably, create this list view as another component, right? Because this is a backend query. We still do have two queries on this page. So I would probably create this list view, this starting up here as a component as well. So we just have one component on this page, one backend call. We're not duplicating it, but you still get this, fluid way, which in test mode, it's going to behave like this, again, regardless of if you're using conditional builder or responsive visibility. So it depends on how you want to manage it, when you want to manage it, etc. Good question. I hope that was a long-winded answer. I know, but yes. And then Max.
Kazakhstan.
Okay. Yeah, from Kazakhstan. You did miss the beginning. So the platform is launched. I think we've shared it, the link, but you can also go to NoCodeUI.io and you can sign in. You can it's app@NoCodeUI.io. You can join now from the homepage. So please feel free to do that.
Is the training part maybe I'm asking about Bootcamp or like more hands-on training? Because
yes,
that will be later.
Yes, yeah, the Bootcamp portion. So yeah, maybe I'll and you talked about this before, Mark.
Yeah.
You're like, what is the overall vision for NoCodeUI? So the overall vision is to do something akin to a bootcamp, where it's not just courses and not just impromptu learning, but it is more hands-on. So
Yeah.
I still need to wrap my head around what that all is going to be. But I do know it's going to be higher level course material, weekly interactions, live classes, or something like that. Weekly Q&A or AMAs, right? Ask me anything. Work-throughs, so workshops, some mentorship, and then also just like individual training. So though that boot camp will be limited to 20 to 30 people. It's not going to be huge. And then I'm going to try to not just pay wallet to, Americans. So we'll try to tier in all countries and all income levels. So with purchasing power parity. So yeah, we'll try to improve that. Cool. Awesome. Good questions.
That's great, Eli. So cool, man. Welcome aboard.
Yeah. Okay. Subscription management portal for web app for users. Okay, this one's pretty good. Necessary tabs, info for account, Austin. All right. Question: best practices for building a responsive account subscription management portal for web app for user subscription management, necessary tabs, and info for account. Okay, I mean, we can build well, we have 15 minutes. We can definitely build this in 15 minutes. Let's see, best practices. Really, it's doing this exact thing that we were building, but doing it in a with a table. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to just build a new page here. And we do have some responsive pages. So let's just go ahead and utilize one of those. Looky here. Did you guys all know this? Did you know there's responsive templates out there? Shoot. This one's probably pretty good. So let's go ahead and use that. We'll say subscription management. Create page. Okay, awesome. It adapts to our theme, which is really nice. And let's just say we don't need this anymore. We're going to focus on this table here. And we're going to specifically focus on not making it a table here, right? You sort of want to view these guys as cards. Let's say this is our, active subscriptions. So active subscriptions. All right, and this is maybe subscription amount. Oh, dude, nice. Oh, that is such a. Oh, that's nice. Actually, you can select an element to unselect it. So 29 a month. Okay. So, and then we have maybe like subscription ID here. ID. Okay. Instead of all of this, right? What I would do is, just like I talked about before, we're going to create components. We want a scalable system. So when you have your design like this, instead of managing, maybe this whole view as a component, right? We don't necessarily need this whole view as a component. What we would like is we're going to feed this list from a backend query. It's going to be active subscriptions. So instead of all of this static information here, we can create this container as a component. So let's go ahead and do that. We're going to say subscription card. Okay. Now in this component, we can then take this and we'll do exactly what we did for the second one earlier. We will wrap this guy in a small column. We'll say this one is our list view. And what we're going to do is we're going to pass in a single amount of data, right? So like up in the component parameters, you would pass in like your subscription data here, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to link it to all of this stuff. And I'm going to duplicate this for now. And we're going to say this one's our card view. So mobile view. And instead of list view, maybe desktop view. something like that. Sorry, my spelling is
Better than mine.
yeah. Oh, okay. We'll just leave it. So this one's desktop view. This one's mobile view. So we'll again just responsive visibility. This. Oh, not this. Desktop. Cool. And then we'll adjust this mobile view for a second. Here is we're viewing mobile. And so on mobile, we want this to behave a little differently. We want to make sure that we don't have a height set here. We probably want, this little guy to wrap around. So this is a row right now. Let's go ahead and wrap that row in a small column. Okay. And now instead of showing hiding elements, right, this is going to be ID. So it's going to be like a random number. Let's adjust the size here. And we can bring that above the column. Oh, we're expanded here. It's awesome. So we'll bring that above here. We'll adjust that content. And on that column, we'll add a little bit of space here. I'm going to add 8 pixel space. So that's nice. On this row, it has a bunch of space. So we'll remove that and that. Cool. So this is going to be your ID. You have your customer information here. And we could wrap this ID in a row, and we'll bring this paid up here, right? And now we have this text that is able to span that. Oh, we don't want that to hide. Okay. We can space in between this, and we could even probably bring this up. So let's go ahead and adjust this down to like 16. We'll do this one 36. Ooh, 32. Nice. All right, we can do that. And let's set some spacing on this row. So 8 pixels in between items. And I'm going to bring the paid over there. And I'm going to expand this text, which is just going to push all that content over to the right. Perfect. Okay. So right there, now we have this card. And then in desktop view or tablet view, we have a list view. See? So maybe we could even adjust this to where our breakpoints are probably really large here. So I think last time we did design system, 1024. Okay. So we can actually break this down to like 990 there. And this one's like, 1400 is fine. So cool. And now this is going to adjust. Once we hit above 990, it's going to go to our list view, and then it's going to be a card otherwise. So we can go to that subscription management, and we will remove all of these. And now when we go to mobile, oh, you know what? This one is different because in this template, see, this is the fun stuff. We're showcasing something totally different here. So we can remove that. And top stats, we have card table. We want to always show. There you go. Cool. We'll maybe hide that on mobile. All right. And then you can just, let's say you get, right. Oh, yeah. Anyways, you would set this from a backend query here, and you would get this view. You get sort of a card view rather than a list view. So that's how I would do it probably. So, and then in addition to that, let's see, biggest challenge making a reminder system. Okay, I'm just starting to learn to be something having trouble. Okay, yeah, there's some good questions coming in. Sorry. So hopefully, Austin, hopefully this answers your question. This is sort of how I would adjust it. Make sure you utilize components here at this level, right? Sort of goes back to that atomic system. So I think I tweeted something out earlier. Like, how do you build things? You build things from atoms up, not from pages down. So, even these small things like this is a repeatable element. So although this came with a template, what I would actually do is make this a component, and pass in data. So maybe a custom icon as a parameter, a title as a parameter, and then a value as a parameter, right? And then I would have these 4 elements that would be one component instead of 4. So little things like that are going to help you build scalable systems that function great. So,
and it's quicker too in the long run.
Much quicker.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, Mark's learning this in Figma right now.
For sure.
So,
and at first it's easier just to go through and just design everything or build everything without making a component. But then when you have to do iterations on it and you start realizing, I'm having to go in and edit all these little cards, when if they were just a component, just do one. And so maybe one iteration takes 5 minutes, but if you have to do 10 of those iterations, and it's 50, and it adds up over time.
Oh, and I wanted to address this. Eli, thanks for letting me know. So currently, I have a developer working on the Google sign-in. Joseph Carmen, thank you for alerting me to the fact of some security issues around Google sign-in. So I have a developer working on fixing that right now. So if Google sign up is not working, it's a temporary fix. So it does work, just maybe redirecting in a weird way right now because of that issue that we're taking care of. So making it a little more secure. Give it a couple hours and I'm sure it'll be fixed. We also have which is annoying, I just found out that Apple sign-in doesn't work on the web for FlutterFlow, which is a little frustrating because in order to launch on iOS, you need to have Apple sign-in. So there will be this nuance where if you log into the mobile app, which will be launching next week with Apple, then you won't be able to access especially if you do it privately, you probably won't be able to access your account on the web, which is a little annoying. So I'm going to come up with a fix for that. All right. Just so you guys know, if you guys can just sign in with Google works everywhere, which is great. But yeah, thank you for letting me know that. Let's see, FlutterFlow no code. Hello, I'm starting to learn something I'm having trouble understanding. What is the difference between a post being seen by all users and only the creator seeing it on the back end? Oh, this is great. This has to do with rules. Okay, this has to do with rules. And it just depends. It depends on filters. I don't know your name, but yes, it depends on filters for the front end and rules for the front end. So whatever post you're creating, if you allow it to be readable by everybody, then it can be readable by everybody, both in the front end design, but also in back end stuff. So beware of that. And you can filter out, if you want to create posts to be private, you can actually set, let's see, like on this ride here, I wish I could zoom in. I apologize. On this rides, this is sort of like posts. Okay. So if I wanted this to be private, I could simply make a, private ride toggle, and I can make it a Boolean, right? So I have this private ride Boolean. So when I'm creating my ride, I'll be able to toggle on or off. If I want to toggle it on to be private, I can toggle it on. And then on my backend query, so on my home screen here, we come over here on this list view, right? We have this list view. You can then filter to only show, we have a filter for categories. We can filter this to only show private ride equal to false, right? So you can filter that out so that all the private rides are only viewed, right? They're only viewed by people within that group, only invite only, maybe something like that. So there's a lot of power you can do here on the front end with that. And Mark, this is a great question. Oh, this is a good question.
I had the same question.
Yep. Yeah. There's pros and cons to both. But yes, I would piece by piece. I don't know if I would rebuild my entire app, but piece by piece, I would rebuild it. So once you build it out, there's definitely some steps. So like, I want to build this card as a component now, right? I did this in the tutorial. So when you go through this tutorial, because we actually go through building this Ride app and laying this stuff out, when you go through this tutorial, you're actually going to build this card as a component. Well, that's a lot easier to start with when you don't have any data hooked up. If I was to create this, hook it up now, and then say, hey, I want a component. Boom. I'm going to do this ride component. Now I have all these parameters, which is nice. I'm not going to lie. It's sort of unnecessary because I have to manage all these parameters now, right? Really what I want to do here is I just want to pass in a rides document to this. And again, this may not be best practice. Sorry, Pooja, if I'm doing this wrong and you do want all of these things. But for me, I'm all about simplicity. I want to do the least amount of work required for each part. So what I mean by that is if I have 8 parameters here, when I pass in on this screen, right? When I pass in, I have to set all 8 of those things here. Okay. If I want to add something, I have to go to this component, add it in the component, and then add it here again. Okay. Now, if I just pass in one element here, which is the ride document, which is what I'm going to pass into this because that's what I'm getting. That's what I want to showcase. If I ever wanted to access anything else on that ride document, I would have the ability to. I could just be like, oh, well, now I'm also showing location. I want to show the map of the location here. Well, awesome. We have access to that. We don't have to create the element here and also pass it in, right? I can just create it here. If I made this responsive like we did on the other one, right? So it's mobile and desktop. I could just copy and paste it to the desktop version. It'd be very simple and extremely easy. So little things like that. It does take a lot more time reverse engineering stuff, but it is more beneficial. So now when I want to use this ride card somewhere else, it would be a component. It wouldn't just be, I wouldn't have to utilize this whole thing. I could just utilize this card, maybe on a profile screen or on a group screen that has rides associated with the group. So that is what she said. Oh, okay. Let's see. Joseph is responding. Dark Series, there's probably no dev who's always done it right. Yeah, that's very true. Okay, gotcha. All right, so this is good. Joseph, thanks for doing the research. You should, okay, so that you can put in a document, you just shouldn't put in a doc ref. Okay, and then make the call in the component. Yeah. Okay, that makes a lot of sense. So the reason behind that, from my understanding, would be because you would do 2 calls if you did that. So I'm doing a backend call for this list view, right, of all rides. And then if I just pass in the doc reference to this card, on this card in the component, I would have to query or showcase that document anyways. So I would be doing a read in this card and a read for the list. So it would definitely mess up your performance. So Joseph, if that's the reasoning, then that's probably the answer from my limited knowledge of how backends work. But yeah, that's what I would say. Very cool. I'm glad to hear it. Awesome. Sweet. Sorry guys that this was so impromptu. I hope it was helpful. Mark, I'll research that. I know that Will, you can tweet at Will Hobbick on Twitter, and he would answer this for you. He's a whiz at that stuff. He would be able to answer you in 2 seconds. I'll have to research it, but I know there's a way because I had asked him about that for the e-commerce app flow. So very good.
Cool, man.
Yeah. Sick.
And I guess just to reiterate, what we started with the beginning of the whole, today's the NoCodeUI, the launch of it, and just happy also to see all the feedback already.
Yes.
And you guys watch the videos, and when you join, maybe you can show it again where you can actually leave some feedback, because that's going to be super
totally
helpful for us. We'd love to hear from you guys and also learn from you guys as well. And
yes.
yeah.
So you can dive into courses here. I'm going to go through these are the 2 courses that are free. So sign up to both of these, right? You just go in here and you can enroll. You'll see an enroll button here when you sign up. And then you can just take the courses. You'll mark complete, which will take you, back here, and you can start the next lesson. In the account page, if you do find that there's problems with something, you can submit new feedback. Just tell me what's going on. If there's a specific, course, you can select that course, and then you can select even the lesson that's sort of affected. And then I will get access to this. You can tell me what's going on. So you're going to even upload a screenshot. Joseph has already done this. Thank you again. Submitted a screenshot of what you see. Maybe it's a gray screen. Maybe it's an edge case of, maybe it's the screen, the page isn't loading well or something. So let me know. Then you can just submit the ticket. And that should all work. So, and you can also see tickets that you've submitted. So here, when I review the tickets, I'll be able to update them and send you a little note back so you can understand, and I can adjust the status of it. So you'll see this submitted, and then you'll see it pending or in progress or complete. So you are benefiting the platform, and I did all of that with a flow from FlutterFlow. Come on. I added to it, right? But it is pretty cool what you get out of the box.
Yeah.
So.
And cool to see that what we're learning on the NoCodeUI platform was built in FlutterFlow.
Yes. And you'll be able to download it on your iOS devices and Android devices soon.
Yeah.
So, which is really the power of it. It's not just web. It's all. So. Yes, cool. Yeah, Joseph, I sort of agree. I added this after you submitted that ticket. So I was like, you know what? I wish I could tell him thank you and send him an update. So I added that post your submission. Awesome. Well, thank you guys so much. I hope that you enjoy the content. Please share feedback and share on your social platforms, right? If you've learned something, again, we're gonna make all these public on YouTube as well. So you can always like them, you can subscribe, you can do all that stuff. I think the platform provides them in a more consumable way. And also it gives you access to limited content, like on the getting started, you get a full extra video. And we are looking forward to seeing you guys improve and become better design engineers that produce higher quality applications for your clients or for yourself, for startups that you work with. There is so much potential for this, and we just want to see more beautiful applications built on FlutterFlow in accordance with best practices. So it's sometimes very difficult to just sort of wander around the platform. There's so much opportunity. It's like, oh, I can do it this way, and maybe it's not, the best way to do it. I'm guilty of that 100%. So I'm trying to disperse all of my knowledge of all the failures I've made on these live streams specifically to everybody, so that we can all build better. So,
absolutely.
Mark, you can follow me on design. Let's see. Twitter home. I'll go to my profile and I'll share it here. Okay, here's my handle. You can follow and reach out there. So thank you all so much. Hope that it's going well. Yeah, thank you again. And we will see you guys next week. Next week will be I'll be taking a break after next week, going on a little vacation. So not really digital nomad, but I'll be traveling. Looking forward to it. Thank you all so much.